All right, injuries. Logan Paulson was the only one that was limited with his foot and hamstring. Everybody else was full. Ryan Clark, Robert, Silas Red, Kerrigan, and Keenan Robinson, all full participation.
How's Barry look out there? And it must be good to get him in the game plan.
Yeah, Barry looked good, man. It's a good, strong rotation, man. Big physical guys up front, which you want, and you want a lot of them. And we now have a lot of them, which is very good. They can rotate in and out and stay fresh, and Barry looks good. He got a little bounce in his step, and we just got to make sure we don't overdo his workload because it's his first game back in a while, but he looked good.
Where do you see him fitting back into that spot? I know Chris Baker said he's still working at nose, but what do you see for Cofield?
Like I said, he'll just be in a rotation with Chris and Jarvis and all those guys up front, man. And, so it's just a matter of finding out his niche and getting him in there slowly but surely and making sure we don't overdo it. But, obviously he's a very solid nose guard, but Chris has done a great job in his place. Both of them can be very beneficial to us.
Barry acknowledged earlier today that he had a second procedure on his groin muscle. Well, when did you guys realize that it was that big of a problem, and do you think he's fine now?
Yeah, he looks fine, but we'll see in game-type situations. But he looked good running out there today. But we kind of noticed it a little bit the last game that he played. He was running around. We saw him chase the quarterback. You could see he didn't have that burst. You could see him limping around a little bit, and it was related to his groin. And since he had to get the other procedure done, he wanted to make sure to go in there and fix that groin once and for all. So that's what he did, and he feels pretty good.
Was there also surgery on the ankle? Or was it just rehab?
Just rehab.
Are there certain things you want to see from the offense the rest of the way? And I don't know if it's too early to go into a big picture approach, but now that you're in this second half, are there areas you'd like to see improved on in particular down the stretch?
Yeah, obviously third downs is a key, and then obviously the turnovers. We've done a little bit better job of the turnovers, but third downs and turnovers are what's killing us. Right now you look at the stats, and I think we're number one in the league in yards per play and number one in the league in yards per pass attempt. So there are some good things we're doing. Obviously, the rushing game we need to improve upon, and third downs and turnovers, man, that's the Achilles heel for us.
Coach, you talked last week, I think. You said you wish you could play a game. You want to get right back out there after Minnesota. Just curious how much you're chomping at the bit to get going again. Do you get the sense the players are sort of feeling that way as well? I
do. I feel like they came in with good spirits. It's not easy being 3-6 by any stretch of the imagination, but I feel like our guys are chomping at the bit, trying to get back out in the field, and they had a good tempo today, good practice, and that's good to see. Nobody's hanging their heads. Nobody's feeling sorry for themselves. We're all eager to go out there and prove what we're all about because we haven't really done that yet. But we've shown flashes, and now it's a matter of going out and doing it consistently. We still have 7 games to do that.
Jay, you just mentioned turnovers. From the other side of the ball, you guys have the fewest takeaways in the NFC 8, and the Dallas game looked like a very different game plan in terms of the aggressiveness. Are you almost going to say to Haz, just be that aggressive the rest of the way if you can, just to kind of let loose at 3-6?
Yeah, there's a fine line in doing both. We got to pick our spots, and you can't be too predictable in anything you do. The big emphasis really moving forward for us, we challenged them today on the turnovers. Right now we're -9. We're not creating enough, and we're giving too many away. And you get what you deserve in football, and the reason you're 3-6 is partly because of that turnover ratio. So we challenge our team. We're going to try to get that down to even by the time the season's over. And that takes a lot of accountability by the offensive players, but also takes some great effort by the defensive guys to force some takeaways.
Robert said he feels like this locker room, the players are coming together more as a team, as a family. Now, what have you sensed? Do you see that, and what are some examples of that you think?
Well, I never really – I haven't double negative, but I have not seen it. I think since it became – to light with y'all saying that we weren't a unified locker room and we didn't have leaders, I think it kind of maybe made people think about it and realize that we're okay, maybe. So I think that's the case. I just think there's some guys that are a little bit more willing now to step out of their shadow and maybe speak up a little bit more than maybe they would have, like a Deshaun the other day. And that's a good thing. It's good to have people speak their mind and get us on the right track. But overall, I think everybody's fine in there. We don't have any leadership problems in my book, and the locker room's been united as far as I can tell.
Jay, with the sort of emergence of Mike Evans here over the last couple of weeks, they got 2 good, big physical.
Yeah, big.
What kind of tests are you going to use? What's the best approach to offset what they do well?
Yeah, it's a great test for him. Luckily both our DBs are big and physical. You know, that's why we like them both. You know, we like Breland coming out of Clemson because he's a bigger guy and played physical, and same with Emerson at NC State, bigger type corners to go against these bigger type receivers. So it's to be a great matchup for them. But, you know, you got to mix up your coverages. You know, you're not going to expect to play bump and run man-to-man all day. You're going to have to mix in some cover 2 and mix in some cover 3s and some blitz pressures and all that good stuff. But we have to really be sound with our technique at corner because both those guys can hurt you real bad, and both quarterbacks have shown the ability to get them the ball on the outside and make big plays.
Speaking of the secondary, I was just wondering how Philip Thomas was doing out there.
Very good. You know, I like the way he's running around out there, and hopefully we'll be able to get him in some action here as the season, you know, winds down. So, you know, dealing with his foot injury, he never really looked the same, but, you know, the last 4 or 5 weeks, I really think he's shown on scout team that he's ready to go and get an opportunity. And, you know, first he has to earn it on special teams, and then he'll get into some action on defense, hopefully, as the season goes on. But he's doing a good job.
Jay, earlier in the year you had Compton working as an extra tight end when Jordan went out. And obviously now he's at right tackle. With Logan banged up, is there any thought to getting maybe, say, Moses, you know, some reps there to kind of do something with him to help out that position?
Yeah, we're hoping that Logan will be good by game time, but that's, you know, something we'll have to address as an offensive staff. But we do have the other personnel groups we can go to with the 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end, and 4 receivers, no tight end. So we have that covered, but that is an option we can get to with Morgan.
Yeah, 7 games left. I think you have 1 Saturday game. The rest of them are Sunday afternoons. Be able to establish a routine. How important is that? How much does that help a team being in routine and, you know, the same practice routine, same game times?
It helps. It helps a lot. You know, sometimes you get out of whack with these night games, and then short weeks, and coaches staying up all night, and everybody's grouchy and tired, and you know, it's difficult. But everybody has to go through it. But when you have the same routine over and over again, and guys know what to expect on a daily basis, they get their sleep habits, coaches and players alike. It's important. So hopefully we can use that to our advantage with the home games that we have coming up on our schedule. Obviously, we want to use those to our major advantage, but also with the schedule being consistent, I think it's a good thing.
Jay, you said last week that there are guys on this team who have fragile egos, and the quarterback specifically needs to be thick-skinned. With Griffin, do you find him mentally delicate?
No, you know, you don't want to have anybody mentally delicate. I just think that people can chip away at you. You know, if you continue to read everything that you written about you and listen to everything that's said about you on television, then you know, he's a human being. You know, it can wear on you. But I think really for a young kid that's been through as much as he has, both good and bad, already at age 24 or however old he is, he's shown the fact that he is a thick-skinned guy and really in good spirits, both mentally and physically. So he's just got to continue to grow and learn from every experience, both on and off the field, and that's what great quarterbacks have to do.
Have you had to work with him, or have you given him any advice on that kind of stuff? Because
we
from your own
talk about
experience,
stuff all the time. We don't just talk football in team meetings. Sometimes we talk about things like that. You know, there's other things that come up that are important in a quarterback's maturation process. And you know, he's not perfect by any stretch in any phase, off the field, on the field. But he's a guy that's willing to work at it, and hopefully we can get him there.
Off of that, he was saying today, you know, he doesn't have to be liked by everybody in the locker room. He just has to win. Is that just a result of some of your conversations you've had with him?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody's liked by everybody. Heck, I'm not liked by everybody, I don't think. Might be. But, no, it's not about being liked. It's about performing at a consistent high level at that position. You know, I know there's great quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. If you look at them, I don't think everybody liked them in their locker room, but they all respected him, and they knew that come game time, crunch time, that he was going to make a play, and that's what it boils down to. And he has to get the most out of everybody around him. Offensive line, wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, they all have to want to play at their best for the quarterback.
Speaking of Griffin and performing, when you look back at the Minnesota game, how many times could you tell the impact of his possible runs had on Minnesota's defense? How much did it help, do you think?
It helps. It helps. You know, help open up a couple holes for Alfred. You know, Alfred's long touchdown run was a result of that, I think. And, you know, it's just another element to our running game that's important. You know, you have throw in a little bit of the zone read with our outside zone. It's been pretty successful, and inside zone, and we have some of the gap blocking power plays. So, you know, it puts a little bit of stress on the defense, but you still have to execute them properly, and that's something we're continuing to work on.
Coach, the last 2 years, 3 and 6, you guys won the division 2 years ago. I know you weren't here for it, but then last year to go 3 and 13. Do you hear guys talking about that run that they made in 2012 and how it can be possible this time around? And do you feel like you have a group that can string together and finish strong here?
Well, that's the intent. You know, your goal is to win every game, obviously, that you play. And, you know, I feel like we've got the ability to do that. We just got to go out and do it and perform at a level a lot higher than we've been performing and at a consistent level that we have not really done from week to week to week, play to play to play, quarter to quarter. So not going to be easy by any stretch. Our schedule is very difficult. We play some great teams coming up, and a lot has to go our way. Ball security-wise, third down conversion, a lot of things have to change. But you know, we're very optimistic in the fact that we can win all the games that we play, but obviously we have a long way to go. It starts on Sunday against Tampa Bay and can't look past anybody, and we got to play our game.